Okay. Okay, so I will take our silence as you need to just move on. Yeah, okay. Okay then. So we would move. Okay. So we'll be interacting with, okay, we'll be working with Python. And like I said from the slide that we were using, we'll be making use of Google Collaboratory, Google Colab. Let me share the link with us. I hope you're making use of our PCs for this. Yes. Yes, yes. This session is recorded. Yes, it's been recorded. So we are making use of our PC. So you can just access Google Collaboratory through this. I will walk us through it though. Let me let me share again. I'll walk us through this. Okay. So I believe my screen is now visible, right? Okay.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So let me assume you actually were not even able to get access to the link. It's called Collab. So you could just go on your Google search and just type it there, Collab, or just write Google Collab, Google Collab, and okay, this is the symbol here. So you could just use this to navigate in and get what we are looking for. If you are coding along with me, please just make sure that you're following up. Get so okay. So we just clicked on new notebook. So we'll be starting everything off from here. So is there anyone who's doing it along? I know some of us are connecting with our PCs, I mean with our smartphones, and well, let's see how it goes. There'll definitely be a way around this, but it's best when you're learning data science to make use of your laptops, your PCs, rather than having to make use of your smartphones if at all you are using it. So please, you can just get a friend to ask, at least in the meantime, just for a few days, you would need to make use of the laptops and doing everything that you need to do rather than working with your smartphone. You can work with your smartphone, but it would cost you a lot, trust me, in the long run. So this is what the interface looks like. Google Colab. Google Colab is just the same as it is a form of Jupyter notebook. It's just Google's version of it. So I want to start doing some things here in Python. So the first thing I had to do was to connect at this point here. Let me rename this. So this is going to be an introduction to Python. Okay. So under this introduction to Python, we'll be learning about certain things. I would do well to explain how to make use of this interface so you don't get confused as we continue. If you'd observe, so let me cancel this and just be fast. Once you click it open, this is the major cell that you see. These things are called cells. So this is a cell. This is a cell. But if you try to scroll to the top, you see a code tab and a text tab. So this text is for just writing. The text is not for code. It's just to maybe explain what you want to do in the lines of code. You get. So let me give some explanations, or some that I would want to do. So the first thing I want to talk about to be variables, variables and data types, variables and data types. And then the second thing that I would want to talk about will be control structure. Control structure. The third thing here will be data structure. And then we will move down to functions. Then file handling. Okay, I think we should just leave it here. There'll be some other things to do, but let's just, so we'll start with variables and data types, and then we'll proceed to the others. So variables. I need to explain what I'm doing here. If you'd observe, immediately I was done writing all of this. I did not click enter. I need to explain that for those who have not made use of Google Colab before. If you are using your laptop, you click shift enter, or yes, that's just the best way to do it. You click shift, then enter. If you just click enter, you observe that it keeps going down. So, and that's not what we want. We are done with what we are doing in that particular cell, and we want to go to the next cell. So you just click shift enter. You will move to the next thing. Please, if your mic is on, please just try to get yourself muted. Thank you. Okay. So I want to talk about variables and data types. Okay. Anytime in Python, you observe that it starts off a particular writing with an hash statement, this hash symbol here. Just know that it is not a code, it is a description of what we want to have. We get, there are other ways of describing things in Python, but on a basic level, anytime you see this hash in front of anything, everything you have in front of the hash are called comments. So they are trying to describe what you want to do. So what are variables? So variables are like containers that we use to store certain things. You get, they at times people call them placeholders. You get, it's like it's just like in normal mathematics, you will see them do things like x is equal to 1. This one is actually what they are talking of, but they need something. You get, they need something that represents 1. So rather than having to just see 1 itself, it is x that should be seen. So this x is what is seen as the variable here. You get, so x is representing 1. You want to see a particular man, but the man is inside his car. You are unable to see the man, but you are seeing the car. Once you see the car, you have seen the man. So that is what x represents here. So x is a placeholder. So let's use our names, for instance. You can just understand it in any format. I'm going to, while I'm explaining the variables, I will do my best to also explain data types too, just so you get the idea behind it. So name. So I want to talk about my name. So rather than just writing Chukuma, you would even observe that something is coming up there, except I want to make use of it as a variable. So I I write name instead, name, and make it equal to Chukwuma. But I want you to understand something. In Python, there are, on programming generally, I think I said it in the previous slide, there are things called data types. In fact, anything that you're dealing with must be a particular data type. You get anything that you'll be working with, any particular stuff you'll be working with here has to be a data type. Now, it is either that it is a number, it is a number format, or it's in your alphabetical format. And I need us to get this well. I'm trying to use layman terms so that nobody gets confused. So it is either that it is in number format, or it is in alphabetic format. When it is in alphabetical format, like my name obviously is an alphabet, Chukwuma. So these are alphabets all joined together. You get, so these ones are referred to as strings. Don't worry, I'll do well to go over this well. So these ones are referred to as strings. So anytime you see alphabets, you get any data type that is represented as an alphabet is seen as a string. And when you're writing string, you always add this comma, this whatever you guys call it in English. Pardon me.
Inverted comma.
Add it. Thank you very much, sir. So you just add it at the top. Whether you make use of these double ones or you make use of the single one, it means nothing. You get. So let us do something again. So we want to buy goods. So let goods be the variable name. So this is the variable name here. Here at the top, the variable name here was name, but here our variable name is goods. You get. So for goods, the goods that I want to buy is biscuits. Like I said, biscuits. Yes. Okay. Let's assume I got the spelling correctly. So let's assume this is a. So let us assume this is a biscuit. Observe something here, please. Whoever that is, please try to mute yourself, please. Thank you. Okay, so biscuits. Observe something there. I told you that whenever you're writing letters, in fact, the moment letters enter into what you're writing, there is already a huge chance that it has become a string. And if you write a string without putting those inverted commas, you are definitely going to be wrong. That's why you can see this line below. It's representing the fact that something is wrong with what you have written. This is supposed to be a string, and you did not put the right thing there. So let's put the comma at the beginning and at the end. So this is what makes it a string. If you observe this now, you realize that there's no issue here. You get. So this is also a string. Let me write this string. Okay, so this is a string. So let me explain this. The term name and good represents the variables. You guess why biscuit and Chukwuma are the things that are supposed to be called. So if you are given something like this, name equals to Chukwuma, you get which of them is the variable one, which one is actually what you want to access. So rather than just accessing Chukwuma itself, we need a variable in which Chukwuma is stored. You get. So Chukwuma is what is accessed inside the variable. The variable itself is name. For this second line here, the variable itself is goods, and what is accessed inside it is biscuits. You get. So I've just explained one data type. One of the data types we have is string. I'll still look for a way to write this in a structured manner, just so you get to understand it if you're going through this script again. Okay, so remember what I said. Either you come here and click this, or you just want, or you click on Shift Enter. I always prefer to click on Shift Enter. So it means that I'm done with this particular cell and I want to do something else here. So let's talk about more more variables and data types. So I want to talk about age. So we want to talk about let us talk about age. So I'm asking this question. I know some of us are a bit familiar with Python, so we know it. So any of us who is actually a beginner to Python, like you've not done Python before, if I have something like the height of a man, the height of a man, let's say I am 5.1 meters. Let us assume that is very abstract and impossible, at least in our generation, for someone to be that tall. So let us assume, okay, let me just use something a bit reasonable, 1.6, yes, 1.6 meters. So let us assume someone is that. So if you see 1.6 for a data type, is that supposed to be a string, or you have 1.6?
Hello, everyone.
1.
I'm calling the world's tallest man. The world's tallest man. Here is he. Whenever can I start?
Please, the person talking about the world's tallest man. Thank you. I know it is very possible. Someone can even be about 11 feet tall. Although I don't pray to meet them, but it is still possible. You get. But what I'm talking about here is now having 1.6. 1.6. Is it ideal? What you want to represent is actually a numerical stuff. Is it going to be ideal for us to make use of this? We want to talk about numbers. We want to talk about numbers. The moment I put in these two inverted commas, is Python going to interpret this thing as a number, or is it going to interpret it as an alphabet? What I mean is it going to see it as a string, or it is going to see it as a number? I didn't get that.
I think it will see it as a string.
Thank you. It will see it as a string. So what basically makes anything a string is the presence of these inverted commas. That's what makes it a string. So even if I'm writing 1.6, I want to talk about my height. So height is the variable here. And normally I wanted to communicate this thing in the form of a number, but I used this inverted commas here. What I have just written is a string. So this is a string. So this is a string. I guess. Let me take this up to the other cell.
I'm sorry.
So that is someone having a question there? Okay. So all these are strings. So you can see them all as strings because they have that inverted commas. But now let us go. Let us do data types for numerals. So we can have integers and floating points or floats. Let's just call them floats. So what I just did here was we are talking about data types, numericals. So under numericals, we have two types, integers or floats. So it's either you have an integer or you have a floating point. At times they are called floats, floating numbers, floating points. Under these, I think I should also let me also do something here. So still data types. Let me just use alphabets, strings, string. Okay. So numbers here. So let's talk about the height. Observe this 1.6 here. This height equals to 1.6 is straight up as a number. You get. So can you see here? This is 1.6. My age. Let's say age. I am 12 years old. I am 12 years old. So age is equal to 12. Age is equal to 12. You get it now. So this is also a number. We go down. Which other thing can I represent here? So we have the cost of goods. Cost of goods. Let's say that's cost of that biscuit that I was buying up here. This goods here. 200 naira. But I'm not putting in that naira there. 200. I want us to get something. So let us okay, multiplier. I'm going to explain all of these things, and let's say that is the 3.17. Let's just assume this 3.1773. Let's just assume it's just a random number. It's just something random. So observe all of these are not strings. Like I said, the major way that you use to know that these things are not strings are the fact that they do not have these inverted commas here. That's how you know that they are not strings. They are just numbers. See, you need to understand the idea behind data types well if we will need to forge ahead. So let me just spend about 5 more minutes explaining this thing before we press further here. So you have height 1.6, age 12. Now you need to observe something here. All of them are numbers. They are all numbers, but under the number system here in data types, you have two types. You have the integers and you have the floats. The floats are anything that has points, like decimal numbers, 1.6, 0.4, 2.9, 3.5. Once you see a point, those kind of numbers are called floats or floating points. So this is a float. So there are two types. It is either you have the float or you have an integer. Mr. Bosa, I'm trying to know who that person is. Please try to mute yourself, sir. Please. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Obafemi, you have a question, please. Please carry on, sir.
I have a question.
Sir?
Okay. How are you typing? How are you typing the hash in front of all those lines as you're bringing out the stuff?
Sorry, can you come again? Your network is breaking somehow. Please come again, please. Come again.
I said, how are you doing that hash sign? As
Okay.
you're bringing out those lines, it's not doing the same on my own.
Okay. I think what you mean here is okay. How am I putting the hash that it is doing what again? Sorry.
Yes, that is bring like, are you typing everything or it is bringing it automatically?
Yes. Okay. Yes, I'm actually typing them. I'm typing them. It is not bringing them out automatically. Trust me, it is not. It is not. You get. It is not bringing them out automatically. Look at this now. Watch. Age 12. I want to represent in Python that it is. I want to write a comment in front of it to show that this thing here is an integer. So I first of all type hash and then I write integer. Is it clear now? Bafemi, is this clear now? Okay, so I'm literally typing. Okay, so I'm typing everything. Nothing is actually automated here. Everything is being typed. Yes. So I want Obafemi to just answer this very quickly before I press further. So Obafemi, for cost, which data type do I make use of here? Like, what do I name it as? Which data type do I name this one as? Is it string, float, or integer? Okay, I heard that integer. Yeah, thank you very much. So this is an integer. Get. And then the last one we have here, this multiplier variable. Is it a string or a float or integer? It's a float. Thank you. It's a float. Yeah, and it is actually because you are seeing the decimal points there. You get. Yeah, there are some best practices in typing Python scripts that as time goes on, we will get to know some of the conventions that I'm using here are not necessarily what I'm supposed to use, but just use this to understand, get the get the template. Trust me, for those who are a bit proficient in Python, they will feel really bad having to go through all of this. They're just waiting for where we start building models, but everybody really needs to understand these things very well. So I hope what we have done now is clear, is very clear. I've spoken about three data types. I spoke about strings, I spoke about integers, and I spoke about floats. There is one last I need to speak about. Remember how I told you to, once you are done with writing a cell, remember how I told you to go to the next one. It is either you click on this power button here, this play button here, or you click shift enter. I always prefer to click shift enter because it leads me oftentimes into a new cell rather than having to create a new cell. Okay, let me explain that. Let me explain what I just said to you. Well, as you navigate through Google Colab yourself, you know how to deal with this well. Let me just the last one I need to talk about here. The last data type I need to talk about here is booleans. Yeah, booleans. Booleans are just representation of true or false. They are default. When we go into functions, you understand what I mean by calling it a default, a def, a default argument. I don't want to be too complex with some of my statements. So booleans can either be true or false. So for now, just know them as true or false, or true and false. They are the major booleans that we have. Okay, agree. Let me assume agree, and I write true. Watch me, please pay attention. I want you to get something. No agree. I would also explain something about the way I'm typing this my variable names. Pause and look at this one again. Agreed. No agree. No agreed. Okay. Yes. No agreed. So what do you observe here? Agree. Okay. Let me go down to agreed. Please, I want us to just wrap this thing up now. If you look at agreed, you would observe straight up that it is what? A string. If you look at no agreed to, you observe that it's a string too. But once you come up to agree and no agree, you also realize that yes, they have numerical, alphabets, right? But did you observe that the moment we just typed it, it did not give us any form of line under that should imply that there's an error there. You get it. It even gave us a color code to represent it straight as blue. It means that these two things are default. They are default statements in Python. True and false. You get true and false. You don't need to put any inverted commas there. They are called booleans. They call them boolean variables. You don't need to put any inverted commas there to actually represent them. Once you write true without putting any inverted comma, or you write false without putting inverted commas, Python understands it as a boolean variable. Am I making sense? Yeah, so anytime you write,
Yes.
you write,
Yes.
thank you very much, sir. Anytime you write true or false without putting any inverted comma, what you are talking about is a boolean, variable. When you start applying these things in real time, you get to properly understand what you are dealing with here. So these things are called boolean. One last thing before I go into the next sub heading. Watch this. Let's assume I'm writing agreed. And I also need to explain something. Let's assume I'm writing agreed and I write, just watch me. True. Okay. My Python corrected I intentionally want to make an error. observe what I just did here now and observe what you are seeing. You will see a yellow line below under this agreed. You will see a yellow line below, which is indicating that there's an error. The difference between this, and this, I mean, the difference between agreed, okay, there's an agreed before. Let me change the variable name. Let me add another E here. The difference between this agreed, that's the first one where I use the capital letter T, I wrote through. This agreed here, and this one is that this one, like I said, is a boolean, and it always starts with a capital letter. This one is a string. Whether you write capital letter or you write small letter, nothing is wrong about it. You get, as long as the inverted comma is there. But if you go down to this one, if you must write true and you want to represent it as a boolean, then the first letter T must be a capital letter T. I really don't want to spend so much time on this, but do you understand what I just said? If you must write this true or false as a boolean variable, please, the first letter must always be capital letter. It must always be a capital letter. If not, Python will see it as an error. The same thing happens to false. Look at false. If I write false this way, observe, it's already putting that line on that, and that thing is showing us that any operation we are going to perform with this agreed is definitely going to give us an error, because this thing here, Python does not understand this thing. It doesn't understand it. It doesn't understand it as a boolean variable or as a string. If it is a string, then it should have the inverted comma. If it's a variable, then the first letter should start with a capital letter T. You get. So let me still write that, but let me comment it just so you know. So I put an hash here. Yes. So this should be an error statement. Yes. Okay. So I believe this is these concepts here are very, very easy to grasp. Let me name this something here. Okay, thank you. So let's move down to control structure. Control structure. Okay. Before I move on, let me use the next 3 minutes to ask: is there any question with regards to what I've explained at the top? Any question at all? Let me check the. Is there anyone here? Okay, can't see anyone here. Okay, so I'll take our silence as no question yet. Thank you. So we have very
No,
smart.
sorry. Hello.
I do
Okay.
have a question.
Okay, I'm with you.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask you whether you just explained the error there. So it's only case sensitive for Boolean variables, but then for string is not.
Sorry. Can you try to be more audible?
Let me try to
Hear me now.
Yes, I can.
My question was based on what you just explained, the error you explained for the Boolean variables. I wanted to ask if whether is it only case sensitive to Boolean variables, but to string is not. So it wouldn't matter if you put a small letter. If like I wanted to declare a certain name, it wouldn't matter for string, but for Boolean it would matter.
Okay. If I'm trying to really get you well, but okay, maybe I should just try something here. Let us assume I have a variable as Chinese.
Okay.
So and what's the name of the okay, Mandarin. Watch this, Mandarin. So this is supposed to be their language, the major language in the Chinese culture.
Mm-hmm.
Just observe this. I wrote this thing now. There are two possibilities. anytime you have alphabets, it is either you are supposed to make it a Boolean statement or a string. But if you observe this, there's this yellow line below, which is indicating that Python is telling you that this thing is wrong. There's something you have not done, there's something that needs to be done. The only way that I can address this, because for Booleans, there are only two things you can have for your Booleans. It's either true or false. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because this statement is neither true nor false. What you're having here is Mandarin. You get Mandarin is what you're having here. So obviously, this thing can never be a Boolean. Okay, watch me. Let's assume I convert this Mandarin to capital letter M. It's still going to give an error. I think I'm beginning to address your question now.
Yes.
Yeah, so even though I'm writing the Mandarin as a capital letter, as the first letter as a capital letter, it is still giving that error because it is reading this thing as Python is trying to suggest to you this is supposed to be a string. For Booleans, you can either have true or false, nothing else, just true or false, at least for now. Just true or false. So if I'm defining this, if I'm talking about Chinese language and I'm calling it Mandarin, whether I choose to start it with a lowercase or uppercase, I always need to put the inverted comma. You get it? So what the statement here says is that this is a string. Yes, this is a string. It cannot be a Boolean variable. Boolean variables are either true or false.
Okay.
Does this answer your question properly?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it actually did. I just wanted to know if whether the case sensitivity part you explained, is it only for Boolean or it also applies for string? Like you declared that Chinese is this. So yeah, it did answer in a way. I do understand.
Okay then, it's fine. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
So let's go down to control structure. Control structure. So that's conditional statements.
Please, I have a question.
Okay.
Please, I have a question.
It's fine.
Okay, thank you. I'm Chagambori. So my question now is, since you said the Booleans can only be true or false,
okay.
Now, when you put a comma and the inverted comma on a Boolean, does it make it a string?
Yes. Automatically. Once you put the inverted comma, you have converted anything into string.
Okay. So now we are now agreeing, if I'm understanding you well, that every true or false is a Boolean until an inverted comma is added to it, then it becomes a string.
Yes. Every true or false is a Boolean, or until the inverted comma is added to it, it becomes a string. And also remember that when you're writing your true or false, always make sure that the first letter is capital. If not, it
capitalized. Okay.
Yes. If not, it will give you an error. Yeah. So that's fine. Thank you. Sorry for the very, very, very proficient Python guys here. We'll move on, but please, as much as you have questions, you could also type them down on the group chat. I'll create sessions. There's something I should have said at the beginning of this class, which I forgot to say. I would do well to say it maybe about concluding today. I would do my best to also speak about that. Yeah. So let's go to control structures. Okay, if you observe what I just did again now, let me cancel this and show you again, because I know people will still have issue with understanding the cell. So I want to describe what I want to do in the next set of cells. So I'm coming down to text. I click text, and then I want to write. I'm intentionally using triple as. Don't worry, as you go, just practice on your own. You understand the meaning of that. It's not so necessary. It's not so necessary. So we are going to control structures. So for control structures, yes. So we'll be dealing with conditional statements. Okay. Conditional statements. for this class, because of our time, we would deal with if else statements, if else statements. Yes, so let's just deal with that. We'll deal with the if else statement, and then we'll go into the while loop and the for loop. Okay, so let me explain this to you. If you have if you have ever okay if you have ever wanted to do some things on some sites, this is just the best one that comes to mind. At times you would see things like are you 18 years and above, meaning that if you are 18, if you are not 18 years or above, you are not supposed to gain access into that site. But if you are above 18 years, you have the possibility of gaining access into the site. So there are two possibilities. It is either you can gain access into the site or you have no access into the site. And your ability to gain access into the site is dependent on whether or not you are 18 plus. You get, if you are not above 18, you cannot enter. In fact, let me make it this way. So just watch. I'm going to use that to explain the if else statement. So you see if else. So if I am 18, I should gain access into the site. Else, when you make the statement else, it means otherwise. You get. So if I am above 18, I should gain access into the site. If I am not 18, then I should not be granted access. You get. You are not granted access into the site. Now I'll use Python here to explain all of those things that I've just said. Let me describe it in a Pythonic way. So let me use Python to explain it. Let me rephrase let me say what I've said before again. So I have the ability. I am before a website, and I am posed with the question: are you above 18? What that means is, or let me say, are you above 17? So if I am above 17, I can gain access into the site. We know that almost everybody lies about that. Everybody will click above 18, even a 6-year-old child will click above 18. But let us assume we are doing things the way it ought to be done. So if I am above 18, I should be granted access into the site. But if I am below that age, I do not have a need of gaining access into the site. So let us look for a Pythonic way to write that, to explain that. So that is what is called if-else statement. If-else statements are used when you have just two possibilities. Yeah, it is either you are gaining access into the site or not. Am I making sense, please? At least before I write the code, I just want to be sure that we understood what I just explained now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So this is, so let me write the scenario. So so we are before a site, a website, and the only entry route is if we are above 17 years. I want to be careful with what I want to type now. We are above 17 years. Let's write this in the Pythonic way. There are better ways of doing what I just did now. Now, if you observe, remember what I told us at the beginning. I said, anytime something starts with hash, whether 1 or 2 or 3, at times you see people write it this way, but that's not necessary now. Once you see it starts with hash, it is trying to describe a statement. You get, so like it is just trying to explain. They call it comment. So this is a comment. So it is trying to explain what we are going to do now. So we are before a website, and the only entry route is if we are above 17 years. You get, so that means if we are above 17 years, we should gain access. If we are not, then we would not be able to gain access. So this is how we write it here. So if the first thing I wrote is if uh, if okay, let me first of all define the age. Yes, we spoke about variable. So this is let me look for one of us. I also explain something here. Let me just find any name I like here. Okay. Okay. Ogunshe. Please, should in case I have made any mistake with your name, just have mercy on me. So Ogunshe age. This is another thing I will need to explain. Observe how I wrote this Ogunshe age. I did not give a space. If I want to define a variable like we have written above, you get name is a variable, goods is a variable, height is a variable, age. I mean height down is a variable. Which look at this one. Look at this no agree. I did not write observe. If I look at did you observe something here in this no agree when I removed that underscore that was there? You can see a red and a yellow line below it, which is already showing that that thing is erroneous. You get. So the best way to do those things in Python, you just use an underscore. There are other ways though, but no agree. So let me go back. So I want to use Ogunshe age. So Ogunshe age. You can see the same thing repeating itself here. So rather than just do that, I will put something here to just separate the both of to make it seen as one. Ogunshe age. So let's say Ogunshe age is age. So let me ask this question randomly because we'll be applying what we have learned above. Age, are we supposed to represent it as a boolean, a string, or a number?
Number.
As a number, right?
It's a number.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very, very much. So,
Yeah.
so because I will represent it as a number, I'm not supposed to put the quotation mark. Yeah. So let me assume Ogunshe's age is, let's say Ogunshe is 29 years. Let's use another person's, let's define another variable. Okay. Paul. Or yes, we'll use Paul and Dorcas too. So Paul. So Paul's age. So let's say Paul is a 65-year-old man. And okay, Kemi, your hand is up. Wait, just give me a moment. So Kemi is a 2-year-old lady. She's trying to access that website. I really do not know how her hands learned how to use the phone, but possibly she's just 2 years old. So let's see what is going to happen. So if you observe, I want to describe this scenario. In order for me to describe this scenario, I first of all, remember the key thing to pay attention to here is their age. And because it is their age that I needed to pay attention to first, I first of all defined their ages. So I gave Ogunshe his own age, gave Paul his age, gave Kemi her age. Before I will now start writing the if-else statement there. Okay, but before I proceed, Kemi, your hand is up. Kemi, are you there? I saw your hand raised. Oh, you should actually forgive me. Perhaps the hand has been on a very long time ago. I did not know because I was always on the other screen. So sorry about that. I think some of you have even asked. Some of you have were even. I'm really sorry about this. So some persons asking regarding the opening of the Google collab. So sorry about that. Sorry. Okay. But I think I can proceed. Kemi's hand is no longer up. Kemi, wherever you are, forgive me. I really don't know why your hands were raised, but I'll have to press for that. Is there any other question before I move on? Okay. I think the silence has none. So we have defined all the ages. Ogunshe's age is 29. Paul's age is 65. Kemi's age is 2. That being said, so let me just go down and start writing my if else statement. So I want to write it. So what is said now is if This is what the statement will say. If Ogunshe's age is greater than, this is the normal, this is symbol for greater than, the usual mathematical operation. Ogunshe's age is greater than 18. Watch me. Look at what I just did here. If Ogunshe's age, so I started with Ogunshe. If Ogunshe's age is greater than 18, then the next thing I did was to put column. Please observe this. If Ogunshe's age is greater than 18, if it's greater than 18, I should give him access. You get? So in Python, there is a built-in function called print. We'll use that here. So I would explain how it works. It's one of the things I should even do. So I would print, you have been granted access to this site. Yes. If Ogunshe's age is greater than 18, I will print, and that is what will come out is you have been granted access into this site. So that is if. Else, so you see else, I still put the column. So after the if statement, I put a column before I went down, and you would observe that the moment I went down, where the print started from is not the same, is not on the same syntax, on the same line with where the if started from. Once you click that, once you write this thing and click the, and just click enter. Wait, I want to do this again. I know I'm going to have a question from this. Watch. If Ogunshe's age is greater than 18, this is where I am. I put my column and then I click enter. So I will now write print. See where I'm writing down my print. It is not on the same line with where my if started from. There are some other IDEs that you make use of. It to be using lines to explain some of those things, like VS Code at times does that, but that's a bit complex for us to make use of now. So you have print, you have been granted access. You have been granted access into this site. Okay. So else, that else means if is not. So else. Look at where I'm writing my else. I go back to that same line where my if statement started from. Exactly that same line where my if statement was on. You won't know how important this thing is until you mistakenly just move a tab forward or a tab backward, and that is the only thing making your Python code to be wrong. You're a very wonderful Python script you have written, powerful. And then the only reason why you are having an error, you will use all the ChatGPT in this world and all the AI, Stack Overflow, everything you know about. At times, they may even forget to see what the error is. The error is just you may just need to just press a backspace once, or just press a tab forward once. So look at those convention again. When I wrote my if statement and I'm going down to my else statement, my if and my else are on the same line, but my print is not on the line with the if. So else, I will print. When I want to write my print statement, I press print and then I put those brackets. You get? It is a string that I'm writing inside the print statement. Look at it inside the print function. That's why you can see the inverted comma there. So else print, you do not have access into the site. Yes, sorry. Let me do it. It's done. Sorry, you do not have access into the site. You get? So watch what also happen. Look at this. Please, are we all paying attention? Sorry, I've not asked. Can we all hear me? Are we paying attention to what's going on here? Do we understand all that I've been saying so far?
Yes, we understand.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we can.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so look at it now. So if Ogunshe is greater than 18, print you have been granted access into this site. Else, print sorry, you do not have access into this site. So when I ran that code, the first thing that I observed that the system would go through it to go and check Ogunshe's age. It comes up here to check Ogunshe's age. Ogunshe's age is 29. Obviously, 29 is greater than 18. Because 29 is greater than 18, the moment it reads through this line and comes to this line, the moment it reads through this line and observe that statement is actually true, that Ogunshe's age is greater than 18, it will come down here and write, you have been granted access into the site. So that was why. So it did not even bother coming down to this else statement. It did not bother coming to the else statement. Why? Because Ogunshe's age is actually greater than 18. So it did not bother coming down to the else statement. You get. But now watch this. I'm going to use the same thing. I'm not going to change the code at all. You get. So observe the output here. You have been granted access into this site. So it means that, let me say that again, it's read the if part. It read this if part, and then it's observed that it was correct, so it just printed this one out. So it just printed this one out. You get. Now let us check a situation whereby Ogunshe's age, the person's age is not actually greater than 18. So let's use the one that's obvious, Kemi's age. So I don't know how to type this again fully. So let me just copy this and bring it down here. Control V. But I will change this Ogunshe's age to Kemi age. So watch. If Kemi age is greater than 18, print you have been granted access into this site. So let us do the printing. Look at this. It gave us, sorry, you do not have access into this site. Why? So what actually happened was it read through the first line and it scanned to see Kemi's age. Kemi is 2 years old. So it wonders, how can a 2-year-old child even hold a phone to the point of having to navigate into entering this site? The child even clicked it again. So it wondered and looked at it. This person is obviously not 18 years. Since you have told me that you are 2 years old, definitely you do not have access. So after I read this line, scan through age, 2 years old, less than 18, it can't print this thing out. So it went to the else statement to see if there's anything else that could be said. So else, I said, print, sorry, you do not have access into the site. The reason why this was printed is actually because it's verified Kemi's age and observed that her age is way beyond, it's way below what we needed. That's the minimum standard for gaining access into the site. And so it went to the next line and printed it. Sorry, you do not have access into this site. The key things to take from here are the syntax. If and else are on the same line here. This if and this else, they start on the same line. Once you write this, once you put this your column here, you click enter. So the next thing you are going to write is going to be a tab ahead of your first if statement. You get. So let us assume you make a mistake and click this thing back. You see, it's already giving you error. How to correct it is just remain on that place and just click tab. You have corrected that. What I just did now, is it clear, please? Yes, thank you. So that is clear. So yeah. So before I try to move any further, once again, for those who were raising their hands, which I did not see, you have to forgive me regarding that. Everything I've done now with regards to the if else statement, I hope that is clear. I hope that is clear. Okay, so there are no questions at all with regards to that. Okay.
Sorry, I have a question.
Okay, yeah, please go on.
So if you notice in the statement, you wrote 17 at first, and then when you were writing the functions, you used 18. So is that a mistake, or we have to follow that?
Yes. That was a mistake from my end. Thank you very much. There was something I was trying to avoid. There are some operations that are also okay. There are some operations that I wanted to also avoid. Let me use what I wrote in the description. Thank you very much for that. Let me just use 17. I don't want to teach too many things altogether, so I'm trying to avoid some statements. Okay, but you see it now, it still works very, very fine. So this is about the if statement. And this is the if else statement. So you use it literally when you have two possibilities, either this or this, either this or this. Should Paul go to the bank? You get it is a yes or no statement. It is a yes or no question. You get if Paul meets certain criteria, you get once he meets those criteria, he's supposed to go. If he doesn't meet them, he goes nowhere. You get so that's the scenario here. There are other statements. There are I really don't know if I should add this now. Okay, there's the if elif statement. You use the if elif statement. You use the if elif statement. You use the if elif statement when you have more than two possible outcomes. You get I'm thinking of a scenario in which we can make use of that. Okay, don't worry. I would go to the if elif statements later, but I will need to teach something first. I do not want to rush things so that you don't get more confused than some persons may be at the moment. But since you have gotten everything down to this point, I would move forward. But let me just do a quick recap. There's a possibility of forgetting everything. We have basically four data types that I've explained here. You have your strings, you have your floats, and you have your integers. The floats are the ones that have decimal points in them. Your integers are just whole numbers. They are integers, whole numbers. 12 is an integer. 200 is an integer. 27 is an integer. You get. But the moment you put points, even if you make it 0.0, though that's an integer, but what you have done is that you have converted it. There are reasons why we do that at times in Python. Strings, you always see inverted commas there. Get. So we'll move down to we talked about booleans. So for our booleans, you have you have true, false. You have just your true and false. And what you need to know about them is that when you're writing true, always ensure that you use a capital letter. When you're writing whether true or false, any of them, she writes the first letter should be an uppercase, should be a capital letter. So T is capital, F is capital. The moment you choose to put an inverted comma, you have converted that boolean into a string. You get. And another thing I said was that you should not make use of a small letter for writing a boolean statement. And then we spoke about the control structures here. So here we were just speaking basically about if else statements. And I also tried to explain to us here that when you want to define a variable, I gave us some best practices. You should not write something like this, maybe because you want to write something very, very long. For instance, one more, then I will just move on. Cost of goods. I want to write it as a code. Cost of goods. And now do equals to. You have already seen error there. The best practice for this is cost of goods. It brings all of them as one. Cost of goods you get equals to 500 naira. It's very, very correct. When you run this, Python cannot give you any error message. So let me just comment that out because it's not part of what we are going into next. So, okay. So that being said, let us then go into loops. We are still under control structures. Because these ones here are under control structure. We have loops and we have conditional conditional statements. So these ones here, what we just did here, conditional statements. Let me like I said, under the conditional statements, apart from the if else, we have if elif, but I'm going to go into the elif later on. Get it's not complex, but I want to use something else to explain it so that we don't get too choked up with a whole lot of stuff altogether. I want to make it as basic as possible. Get as basic as possible. As you continue learning with some of the materials we will give to you, you'll see some more things you get. Meanwhile, let me say it before I say it later on. Our classes on Fridays would be more of question and answer, and also navigating through some more detailed parts that we may not touch in the classes because of time. I think I'm even being a bit slow because I'm trying to carry everybody along, which is actually good too. But Friday classes would be basically tackling problems, real-time problems. So even things I do not go into detail with here, on once you have done your research and done some of your practices on Friday, just bring them. We'll do our best to do justice to all of those questions. So let me write this here, that this one's a conditional statement. Conditional statement. Okay. So here, let's deal with loops. I want to deal with loops now. So loops are a form of, like the general term is control structure. It's okay. Let me just talk about the advantage, because trying to define it may need me to use some technical terms I really would not want to make use of now, but we'll look into that on Friday also. So it makes some of the processes you want to perform naturally very much easier than doing it in a more manual approach. You get it makes your work easier. Let me assume, for instance, and I'll majorly explain the for loop today. I still will not explain the while loop, but I will go into it. You don't need to feel like you're not going to get that. I will bring that to us. But let me just explain the for loop to us. Let us assume we have um um okay. However the case is, I will still have to go a bit a bit further than I actually do not want to go. Okay. Let me just use something that you have. Watch this. Let's assume we have a string like I am the son of I. Okay, let me just use a normal, just a word. A word. So let's just name this place or city. Yeah, so let's call this one Barcelona. So I have this, but I want to pick all the individual letters that are in this thing, that are in this variable Barcelona. You get? I want to pick each of those individual words, like Barcelona. Instead of somebody asks me, and the question is, in fact, let me put that as a scenario there. So we have this scenario. So this is this scenario. I am asked to print out all the letters in the variable below, in the variable below. Let's use the for loop to explain this. Like I said, there are basically two kind of loops. You have the for loop and you have the while loop. For loop and while loop. For loop and while loop. I would still talk about that. Sorry. You have the for loop. You have the for loop and the while loop. So we want to use the for loop to explain this. So a normal person that is not a Python student, what will come to his or her mind is to do something like start writing something like, please, someone should just answer for me. Let us see how not understanding some major concepts in Python makes us do something we could do very shortly with a very long process. Watch. So what is the first letter, please, everybody? B, right? Thank you very much. So B, that's good. I think fine. The next letter, let's waste more time. That's what? A. That's good. Python is a language that is designed to help you make working faster. But yet we have chosen to follow the path of time wastage. Let's continue. C is the next one. The next one is what? E. I'm even feeling bad doing this. I feel really bad for myself now. So print again. What's the next one? Sorry, I'm not even seeing this thing. Basi, low, it should be L, Abi. So please, whoever that is, please. Thank you. I was thanking you for you don't want my thank you. Thank you. Okay. So let's click shift enter and see the wonderful thing that we have just built. It's very wonderful. Let's go. Wow. Very good. BARCELONA. This one is even better. What if we have a word that is about? This one is better. So you could easily type all of them. Barcelona is quite short. How many words? How many letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have nine words, 9 letters there. So you could type all of them. What of when you are writing a sentence that is over 250 words and they say you should pick out each of the, I'm just giving a scenario because when we go deeper, there's an aspect in data science called natural language processing. And at times, understanding some of this stuff will help you. You have to wrangle through a statement of over 250 or 500 words. Please, who's that person that is unmuted? Please mute yourself. I cannot see you. I should do that myself, but I can't see the person. Please mute yourself. Thank you very much. So this is one of the ways to waste your time even when using Python. So this is what Python would expect you to do, and that is why you have things like the for loop. As you go further, you even realize that for loop itself is even wasting your time. There are other smarter ways to do it in Python. So Python is just, and it is one of the reasons why it's a very beautiful programming language to learn. It gives you skill when it comes to automating a lot of processes. A lot of processes will be done faster with the use of Python. So now let us do that same thing with for loop. So I'm defining the variable, the same variable Barcelona. I think I should just copy it from here. So you have this control. So we have Barcelona here. So remember, it is called a loop. A loop is like going around something. So what I'll do is I'm going to explain what I've just written here. For I in cities. For I in city. That I represents each individual term in that variable city. Each individual term in the variable city. I repeat, I represent each individual term in the variable city. Let me say that again, please. I represent each individual term in the variable city. So I'll print I. Does it much faster. So it has printed all those stuffs that we were writing individually before. With how many lines of code? Just 3 lines of code. Here we did about 10 lines. We had to do 10 lines to answer this scenario question here. But here, with 3 lines, we were able to get that. The same output here was what we got here in a shorter time. You get in a very shorter time. There's another way to do this with 1 line or just 2 lines of code. You will get it without even this way. But this is also industry standard. Like when you start working, you can write this type of thing and nobody will see you as a novice. You get. So for I in city, print I need to explain also to you that this I can be anything. I can call it for letter in city, print. So what am I going to write inside here? Since I'm doing for letter in city, what will be inside my print statement? Everybody, you can post it on the letter, right? Okay. Somebody said you should have even tried hippopotamus. Hippopotamus is still very easy. It's still very. It's just a word. Okay, so print letter. You see, still gives us the same thing. Get Barcelona. Get it. So if you'd observe, everything builds up from the explanation of variable at the top. That's still what we are using down here. So before we even do almost anything, we'll define a variable first. After the variable is defined, we'll use that defined variable to perform the next operation. So I'm doing my best to ensure that everything just builds up on what we have learned, so that you at least can follow through to a very good extent. Okay. So this is very, very basic about for loop. This is a basic idea. As we touch other structures, would then move further into details with regards to the for loop and then the while loop too. Is there any question with regards to this? Like I said, this is not all, both for for loop and for while loop, but we'll touch them. Is there any question at all? Let me check if any hand is raised. Okay. There's no need to. Let me go further. Yeah. So this is for loop.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Can I ask a question?
Okay. Yeah, please.
Can you please do a recap? What exactly is this for loop for?
Okay.
When do you use it? Thank you.
Okay. So for loops or loops particularly are used for I'm still going to do about 2 more examples before I go to the next thing. At least before 11 o'clock, I'll do something again. For loops are used to you have a statement or an array of things that you need to scan through all of them individually. You get, you are in a situation whereby you are in a room that's comprised of plenty people. Rather than having to send one usher and tell him go and count everybody, and then the usher starts counting, and as he's counting, someone that was at the back moves to the front, and so you cannot even count them properly because they are just scattered, wrangling anyhow. So what for loop helps us is, for loop helps you to move around that particular thing that you want to survey. It is like an automated process that helps you go around the particular system and gives you any output that you want from it without you having to do it individually. Like I was explaining here at the top, that if there were no for loops, I wanted to print each of the letters in the word Barcelona. Look at how I was doing it. Let us assume there was nothing like for loop. This is a very hideous process to do. So what if it was this statement? Let's assume it was this statement now, and I wanted to print out every single thing. Watch me. I want to print out every single thing inside this statement. Let me assume This is the statement here. Okay, it's sentence or sentences, anyone, sentences. Let's put my position mark, then I paste that inside here. So I want to access each individual word, SCENARIO. This column, I'll access it. This space, I'll access it. I'll access it. This space also, I want to access every single thing there. You get? If I want to do that, and I go and start writing print S, come to the next line, print E, come to the next line, print T, come to the next line, print E. That's not good for a programmer or a Python developer at all. It doesn't speak well of you. In fact, it doesn't show that you understand anything about the basics. You get? So having to have the only reason why we could even do this one here was actually because it is the letters of this word are very, very short. They are just 9 words in the term Barcelona. So you could write print B, print A, print R, print C, print E, and the rest of that. You get? If I come here and I want to wrangle through this thing, even though it is not a necessary thing to do, I'll just come here and write how you use the for loop. You use, remember, it is called a for loop. For loop. Let me write that here also. Loops. So here I'm talking about the for loops. So for loop here. That's what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about the while loop. I'm reading. So for loop. So I write for each individual letter, for, let me say, letter in, what is the variable that we have defined? Just the same way we did the other one. Just the same way we did this one here. What was the variable here? It was city, right? So we did for letter in city. So here to be for letter in what? My brother that asked me this question. Hello,
For
sir.
letter sentences.
Thank you very much. Sentences. Watch another thing. Because I spelled it wrongly, it's already putting that line under sentences here. I don't misplace colon for semicolon. So I just write print. It will print letter, even though this is not necessary, but just watch. Okay. Yes, it printed everything. The reason why I'm not saying this is that, see, sorry, I'm not with my mouse. I should have scrolled up. This thing is just from here. You see this D? It's from EVAR. You get? It's from here down that you're from this E down is what is showing. I'm really sorry. I'm not with my mouse. I should scroll. You get? Once I scroll, you see everything. So you see variable. There's this space. It counted the space too. Gave you below. Gave you dots. Gave you the space and went down. Please, do you understand this now, sir? Is it clear now? Sorry, who asked this question? I was not seeing this. Okay. It's clear. Thank you. Clear. So that's it. Yes. Now I'm going to delete this because it's not. Or let me just comment it out, please. Okay. I still have an error. Let me comment this. Let me just comment this. I don't really need that. It was just an explanation. Okay. So that's it. So now that being said, this is one of the very key parts I need to explain. Once we grasp this concept here very, very well, a whole lot of things would no longer be a challenge to us. A whole lot of things will not be a challenge to us. A whole lot of things will not be a challenge to us. Okay. So I want to talk about data structures. Remember what I said earlier? There are a few stuff that I have intentionally decided not to touch yet. If elif statement, I did not touch it. While loop also did not touch it. Because I wanted to look for a way to start implementing. I'm looking for the best strategy to just add them up together such that when I want to go into some advanced processes, they will not sound like gibberish to you. It will be very easy to comprehend them because you've understood this concept. So moving down to this one is quite easy. You get so, and data structures are part of the things that will really help me in this. Even in data structures, there are still more complex things to do, but it will stay really basic, really basic. I don't know your sitting capacity if you are able to stay for as long as 3 hours on a stretch, but I think it would even be best. I was thinking of a break for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, but it may not be necessary because of the time that you have get. So bear with me. However, if you feel like you need a 10-minute break, just post it on the chat. And I see how many people have posted who then make the decision. Yes. Okay. For now, let's talk about data structures. You guys are just too good. Nobody's having questions. The data structures. So these are the major building blocks. That's the codes that we use here in Python rest upon. Apart from the data types, see, data structures Python data structures are very. In fact, everything that you're doing belongs to anything you'll be working with would actually belong to the data structures. And the data structures that we are going to handle here are the following. Number one should be our list. The number two should be our dictionary. Number three would be tuples. Yeah, let's just stay with this on tuples and sets. So let's just stay within this boundary. Yes, let's stay within this boundary. When I get into NumPy, many of these things and pandas, a whole lot of these things would be readily sorted out. So okay, so we will deal with lists first. So lists. So lists are they are mutable data structures in Python. It is like a container that has a set of things. It's just that, okay, let me put this symbol in front because I'm careful with the terms that I want to make use of. Because I wanted to say a list is a data structure in Python that consists of a list you get of objects or items, but that still makes reference to the term list, but it's still very all right to say it that way. So a list is a list. What you need, the major thing you need to understand about it, at least for now, is the fact that this is the symbol that you use to represent a list. It is called square bracket. The square bracket is what is used. So if I want to write, I do not want to write different. I don't want to create different variables to represent certain people in a class. Get? So I want to write all of them just in one. Let's one container embed all of those people in the class. You get? So let's say this Niger Youth Drive. Let me show you an example of a list. Let's just do something very basic first. So let's say alphabets. Okay, alphabets. The first thing I'll do is to put this square bracket. You get? So I want to define a list of alphabets. A list of alphabets. So A, I'm not going to write them all. B, C,
Hello.
I can't hear anything.
Can you-
Hear me?
Can't hear anything anymore.
And he went mute.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yes.
was it just my end or it happened everywhere? I want to be sure that it's my network.
I guess
Your
it's
Hello.
network.
It's your network.
Oh, so sorry
Your
about that. Really, really sorry about that. So sorry about that. Okay, you know what? Within now and 11:10, just go for a break. Let me please just fix this really, really fast. Let me change network. So we'll come back once it's 11:10. So you have 9 minutes. You get. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me fix this really fast. I don't want the network to be a barrier. Thank you.
Sorry, guys.
Okay, so we're back. I've been able to switch my modems, having some issues with Airtel network. So I have to move. Okay, so are we all here? Would have to comment now. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes,
Okay,
we
okay,
can.
thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. So I want to believe that so far we've learned well. This is an introduction to Python, and a lot has been said so far. Okay, so we're talking about lists. Yeah, lists. We're talking about data structures, and first of all, we are dealing with lists as a data structure. Okay, and I said it is a mutable data structure, meaning that some operations can be performed on it to amend it, like to tweak it to just become in any order that you want it to be. So, and I said a list is simply an array that has several things stored up in them. So it is still a variable, but this time around it does not just store one thing. It stores a vast array of things. And at least to the best of my knowledge, there's no limit to how many items can be stored in any of these data structures, as much as you want to, as much as. Here we just have about 5 or 6. Yeah, we have about 6 items A, B, C, D. In this list. So let us assume we want to create a list of students. So students, Niger youth drive students. Yeah, Niger youth drive DS student. Okay, how long? Oh boy. Okay. As of the end, let me just use in Niger. Okay. Let's use a small letter. So let's just some synthetic names. Get so we have Bumi. You can just store any Charles. Yeah, Charlie. Akbos. Udeme. Any name, and just store. In fact, this is just another representation of a string. A string can still contain any type of thing, both a string, both a string, a floating point. You can use you can use a list to save all the details of someone, even though it's not best practice. Let's say his name is Chukudi. His age is 19 years old. You get is 1.62 meters. That's his height. He's in SS2. That's his class. He's from Kaduna State. He lives in heaven. So Chukudi, look at this list now. His name is Chukudi. He's 19 years old. He's 1.62 tall. He's in SS2 from Kaduna State and lives in heaven. Do you observe any error in this stuff? Can you observe any error there? Okay, you can observe the error from this heaven stuff, and that's because I did not write it as a string. So let me convert it to a string here. Get that? So this is just the basic thing you need to know about strings. Lists rather. The most important thing here is this stuff, this square brackets. That's what is used to represent it. So you don't necessarily need to have only strings in a list. This third variable that I defined here as items already explains that. You see a string here. This is an integer. This is a floating point. This is a string. This is a string. This is a string. So every form of data type you may choose to use may come into it. You get, so that's a string. Now let me do some more explanations on string. There are some basic functions or methods rather that can be applied that can be applied on strings. Yes, just depending on what you need as an output. So let's use the alphabet. This alphabet variable. You get alphabet variable. Let's just assume I want to add. So I want to add another item. Add another item to the alphabet variable. So I will just go and write alphabet dot append. You get. Then after I click on that, after I write the append statement there, I can just add what I want to add. So let's say Z. Watch this. You would not know that you have added something to the alphabet variable. Okay, normally, let me print something from up here. Let me run this and create another cell below it. Watch. If I write print alphabet here, see what is printed. It printed A, B, C, D, E, F. But with this append method that I added to it here, I have added Z to it. So if I let me write print alphabet again, print alphabet. Now you can see that I've added Z to it. The same way you can remove. You get, these are just methods, and they are not hard. They are just things that, one of the things about coding is not necessarily like mathematics where you need to cram formulas, if you get, or need to just, the way secondary school mathematics and physics have been taught, whereby most times they don't, the idea is not behind understanding a concept, but in cramming and memorizing formula. That's not necessarily it here. This is majorly about logic and understanding of concepts. If you understand concepts, many times you may not know all the codes in your head, but once you can read up documentations and you understand how it's supposed to function, you will just realize that navigating through anything at all in the specific language will become very, very easy for you. So I'm more interested in you getting the concept and the ideas behind them. Many of all these methods and functions, when we introduce them to you, you see them. There are several methods. If you try to start implementing each and every one of them only for one data structure, we may never exhaust it today. You get. So that's about that. So you can add more things. You can add more. You can keep adding more. So rather than having to go directly to get and write comma Z, you can just do it this way, and you see it working very, 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 very fine. Very fine. I would use this thing to perform some operations later. Okay, since let me touch for loop using this thing so that we also do not forget what for loops are. So let us assume we want to use this variable here, this one. Let me copy it down. Okay, let me use this. Let me just pick. No, let's pick it up so that everybody can see it. So I'm picking this variable. So let's put the variable here. So this is variable. We want to use it. I want to show us application of for loops here. One of the applications of for loop here. So for for loop application in list or with lists. Yeah, it's not necessary. English not necessary with lists. Okay. So like just the same example I did before. There are other things to be done, but this is just at the basic scale. So for here, I'm doing for name in, what's the name of that variable? How am I supposed to do it? I want to call all the names, all the individual names, Bumi, Charles, Charlie, Akpos, and Udeme. I want to call each of them individually, just the same way we did the other one. So what do I write now? For name in what?
Nigeria used to drive.
Okay, Nigeria, you drive DS students. Thank you. Yeah, that's good. So let me just copy that and paste it here. So remember, what I want to do is to print all the individual names, not what we were doing before where we were printing each of the words. The reason why we're printing each of the words was you observe that there are two different data types. If you try to check the data type of this Niger Youth Drive, what you will see is you will see it as a list, but for the other one up there, you will see it as a string. We'll do that. So we print. So what are we going to print here? Name, right? Okay.
Yes.
So why are we okay? What do you observe? Did we get it correctly? Did we not get it correctly? Why? Is this what we wanted to get? Okay, we didn't get it correctly. Let me go back so that I can see those who are answering and then know how to wait that. Okay. You said we didn't get it correctly, right? Who said that, please?
I said that.
Speak.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm not.
I said
I'm
that
not
we
seeing.
did it correctly.
Okay. Thank you. So why do we all agree with him that we didn't get that correctly? actually it is very obvious that we didn't get it correctly, because what we wanted to print was each of the individual names. But now we are seeing name. I really don't know why it's happening this way, but let's try to fix it ourselves. Why do we think we are having this error? Meanwhile, it is not showing the normal way Python used to give error, but that's why you see understanding helps you. It is not giving us all of those. Watch, let me just show you something. Look at this. This is the normal thing people are used to as an error. So when you see red things like this, feel like, it's an error statement, or this error here, indentation error. How can I solve it here? And all of those stuff. But this one, it printed out the very nonsense that you are giving to it. Exactly. Yet you're able to decipher this thing as an error statement.
Okay, so sir, please, why are we putting the name in print in inverted comma?
Yeah. Okay, so you're asking why are we putting the name in print in inverted comma, right?
Yes, because that makes it look like strings.
Yeah, you see. Okay. So I think you are actually answering. Are you answering the question, or you are
Yes,
just
it's my observation. I feel that's where our error is coming from.
Kò fún mi láàyè láti máa jáde. Rachel,
ọ̀dọ́mọbìnrin tó ń wa ọkọ̀. And to that person that is giving us ayé láti máa jáde, the person should just help us to jáde from the store, please.
Thank you very much. Kò fún mi láàyè láti máa jáde.
Please,
Rachel, ọ̀dọ́mọbìnrin tó ń wa ọkọ̀.
I am not able to see the person's name. Like, please. Okay, the person is asking me to give him chance to jáde. Thank you very much, whoever you are. Okay, then it's fine. So that's our friend now just answered it. It is not supposed to be in this format. What you just did now was that if I left this stuff there, what you were printing was, we actually, for all of the individual items in this string, we were printing name. What we did here was actually a string. It was not actually this name. It is this name that we want to access. This name here is what we want to access. You get? So we are not supposed to apply a string, the quotation marks to it. I mean the inverted commas rather to it. So this has corrected it. This has already corrected it. So we can see that here readily that it is very easy to get each of what we want to get from these strings. I mean from this list. You get? So for name in this variable defined here as a list, we print name. So we have all of these outlined to us. So that's it. That's it. So let us say we want to get each of the individual names. We want to get the first one, like just the first name there. We want to select the first name. The first name. This one is going to be very useful when we start working on data science project itself. Please, you can just mute yourself, please. I think I saw your hand raised too. Sorry, it was Mary Jane Obu. Your hand was raised before, please. Sorry about that. Mary Jane Obu. Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah, so we want to get each of them. Let us assume it is the first name. I'll explain this. We just want to get only the first name. So I wanted to get Bumi. So there's a way lists are being indexed. This is the first item. Bumi is the first item. It has an index of 0. Charles is the second item. It has an index of 1. Charlie is the third item. It has an index of 2. So it reads 0, 1, 2 till infinity. How many number of stuff you have there? So if it is Akpos that I want to I want to get Akpos. I want Mary Jane to answer this one. I want to get Akpos. So what am I going to write inside the square bracket? Is it going to be 0? I didn't get you. 3, right? 3. Thank you. Thank you very much. So that gives us Akbos. You get very easy. I want to get the last, how do I get the last one? Huh? Four, right? Okay, 4, thank you. But let us assume we have plenty, like you cannot count how many things you have. Let us assume you cannot count how many items you have in that list. You are working with a front-end developer that always sends certain things to you. Let's assume it's not sending it to you as a JSON file. It sends them very funnily as a list, and it's a very long list. Obviously, you cannot know all of them till the end. You can't know all the numbers. You don't know the one that's number 27. You get, there are other ways to attack, and that's one of the reasons of making use of the for loop. But if you want to gain access to the last item on the list, like this one now, Udeme, like you said, you can use 4 to do that. You put in 4, it gives you Udeme. You also can do this -1. I hope I'm not wrong. Yes, -1. It is best. Anytime you just want to get the last one, just do -1. You get, in a situation whereby the list is really long and you do not need to start doing all of this. So whether you do this or you do this is very correct. I believe this also is really clear, right? Someone said remove the inverted. Okay, you're trying to address the other stuff. Thank you very much. So this is a very basic description for lists. Yes, for lists. Okay, so let's talk briefly too on dictionaries. As we progress, we'll do some more stuff. Okay, I just want to show us one other example here with this application that we just did here. I think when you start, you will get some tasks to wrangle, some data sets, and I want to see some of all these things applied in them. So look at this. Let's use our Niger youth drive here. I really don't want to forget the name. Okay. So let's say for I in that Niger youth drive. So we are printing I0. Wait, let us still copy so that you don't get that you know what this thing is here. So let me pick a random name to tell me what is supposed to be the output before we do this now. I want to just look for, okay, Daniel Bitayo, your hand is raised. Okay, you asked the question, right? You can ask me. Please, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I
can
can
we all
hear you.
hear me? Okay. Daniel Bitayo, your hand is raised.
Yeah, so I didn't get the last part where we had maybe I'm trying to get the particular name. So I didn't get it very well.
Okay, it's fine. But you got the other explanations above, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I said for lists, if you want to get each of the individual names, like for this Niger Youth Drive DS students, Bumi is the first name. It is indexed as 0. So if I want to call Bumi, I'll write Niger Youth Drive. I'll write the variable name. Then after writing the variable name, I'll put a square bracket and put the index that it represents. The index there is 0. So I put index 0 there, and once I print it, once I click it to be printed out, it will give me that name Bumi. So if you go down, you see Bumi there. You see Bumi printed. If it's for Charles now, Charles, if this one is 0, the next one should be 1, the next should be 2. The index here is 2, here 3, here 4. You get that? However, I got to a point where I said that most of the times you do not know how long your list is. So it is not always ideal when you want to call the last one to use the number that thing represents. Let's say there are like 100 and you don't know how many they are. You cannot start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 till the 149. Then you know that the last term is the 140 is the 149th term, which will be index 148. You don't need to start doing that. Just do -1. So if you want to call the last term, rather than doing, yes, if you do here, that last term represents 04. I mean, it's under index 4, like what we did here. But I was saying it is best practice to just do -1. Anytime you want to call the last term, in the string, I mean in the list rather, just do -1 inside the square bracket, and that should be it. You get? I don't know if that answered the question you were trying to ask. Daniel, did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, then thank you. So I wanted to ask a question now. So for this line of code that I just wrote down here, this one, let me ask someone random. Dorcas Omolade, what do you think would be the result? What do you think should be the result for this? For I in Nigeria Youth Drive DS students, print I square bracket 0 inside. What should be the outcome?
The outcome should be Bumi.
You guys are too good. Why should I be the one teaching here? Okay, let's see if she's correct. So she said Bumi. She said Bumi, right? Okay, let's see. Meanwhile, we get Baka. Cow. What's happening? Cow. What's going on? How come? How come? Like, yes, we will get the link. Don't worry, we'll get the link to the notebook. So, how come we're having BCCAU? Why are we not having Bumi? Actually, it is Bumi that we want.
It's giving us the first letter of each of the names in the list.
Thank you. It is giving us the first letter, each of the names in the list. Is there a better way to use a for loop to generate just the first? Is it ideal to use a for loop to get just first this thing here, just like Dorcas was suspecting? It is not ideal, because how a for loop works is that it goes around everything. In fact, it is always that's why it's called a loop. It is always going round. The first thing it did here was to generate, to get all the items, the individual item, and then the next thing that it did was to then go back and check what exactly we needed from each of those stuff. What it does actually is that it wrangles round. It goes round. It does not just stay in one position and then do a particular function. It comes here, goes around all of them, and then look for the particular operation that needs to be performed on all of them, and then it gives us that output. So the best thing, like we did earlier, if you just want to generate just that Bumi, the best thing to just do there is you don't need a for loop. We don't need a for loop to do that. You just call it normally. But if you want to get the first term, just the first term in each of the word, you get this thing is like saying generate the first term in each of the word here. So you do it this way. You get, so that's it. So Dorcas, you tried. In fact, that's what I would have thought of, and I think that's what over 70 or 75% of us too would have thought of to be the response. I hope I'm saying the truth, right? Definitely.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Almost everyone would. Even my younger self would say the same. Even myself now, self may even forget. How are you sure that I didn't forget that it is not the output that came out that made me start acting like your teacher? You may not know. Okay.
But so,
I,
excuse
I,
me, pardon me,
I have a
please.
question.
Okay. Let me get the question first from the young man that said, "Excuse me, pardon me, I have a question."
All right. So, what exactly is the cause of this output BCC?
Okay. Watch. Let me explain something to you here. That's BCC. Look at it. B is the first. Remember, this O here represents the first. It's supposed to represent the first. Look at what we did here. Let me look at this stuff here. When we did Nigeria Youth Drive DS students and we did 0 without using a for loop, what we generated was Bumi, right? You get. So normally, if you want to get the
Yes,
first
yes.
item in a list, you just put a square bracket and put 0 there, and then it will give you the first item in that particular list. You get. So now, when we came down here, we are using a for loop. A for loop is supposed to go around everything, every item in that given list. Then after going around every item in the list, it will now start performing the particular operation that you want it to perform. The operation that we wrote here was that we said generate I0. If we just say generate I, watch me. If you say generate I, it will print Bumi, Charles, Charlie, Akpos, and Udeme. That's what you have. But because you said I0, what you are going to have is, okay, go to the first one, Bumi, give me the first letter in Bumi, go to Charles. So it is still going to go round again. Go to Charles, give me the first letter in Charles. Go to Akpos, give me the first letter in Akpos. Go to Udeme, give me the first letter in Udeme. So we click it. You see BCCAU. That's that. So it's not one error. It's just picking the first letter. You get. Is
Yes,
that
yes.
clear, sir?
Perfectly understood. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. There was someone else that wanted to ask a question also. Sorry, I wasn't taking notes of that. There was someone else that wanted to ask a question too. Or did that solve the question you wanted to ask? Okay, most likely that's
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question.
okay, it's fine. It's fine. I'm listening to you.
Oh, are you able to put the Colab sheet back up?
Okay.
So if
Okay,
I
it's
were
fine.
to put print and then Niger Youth Drive with the index of 0, would that give me Bumi then, or would that print out the whole?
Well, trust me, I don't think I would have ever wanted to try that as a developer. But let us see what the result into. Let's see. Well, I think that will most likely give us an error because it's not the global it's in the local file that I'm coming. Okay, yes. What happened there, which I don't think is what you want to get. The first thing that always happens in a for loop is that, look at it, for I in, the first thing that will happen is that it has to go around everything. It goes round everything. So in its mind, it has gone around everything. It has gotten each of the individual items, but you've not given it the particular operation to perform. Let me assume. Let's just assume this. Let me comment this thing out so you understand what I'm saying. If I just do this to give an error, you see incomplete input. That this incomplete input means Yes, I know this is a for loop, but you have not told me anything. You've not told me what you want me to do with this stuff. So when we gave it this thing here, it will still go around this stuff, and then it will only generate what you gave it here. So what we gave it here was for all of them, print out the first. For all of them, print out the first name there, Bumi. But it is not common practice. Like, well, it depends on the case scenario. Like I said, programming is about logic. I've not been in any situation that will precisely make me to want to write something like this. You get, except, and I think if you write something like this, it means you want to create another variable wherein you will store all this stuff inside of it. You get, so I don't know if that's if this is okay, sir.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. So thank you. So let's just leave what we had before. Okay, yes. Thank you very much. I like the fact that everyone is really following well. Yeah, so trust me, to be a very smooth ride, even though we just started, but it's really going to be a smooth ride. Yeah, so let us talk about dictionary at least before our time gets elapsed. Like, let me just do a brief introduction to it. Once I'm done with that brief introduction, we would be able to, from our next class, we just do a few recap, and I would just remind me. I don't need to be reminded though. I will share some materials on the platform so that you can also use them to enhance your skill. You get, the more you practice. I've not touched everything I need to touch here, but when I give those materials and you look into them, you would see some other stuff that we didn't actually address that are very related to this, which would also help in our other classes. The time may not be enough to bring all of those together. Okay, so dictionary. Remember, we are dealing with data structures. So dictionary. This one stores items and what they relate to. In fact, when we start working with pandas the data frame, you will see the relevance. This one, and you see the list, all the data structures should be understood well. But on one of the stuff that makes you interested in what you are doing, that gives you joy when you are doing them, is when you're seeing them come to life. And you see lists and dictionaries, you use them more frequently than most other ones. Even for loop, you use it more frequently than the while loop. You may end up never using your while loop self. If you end up just doing the usual processes, you may never need to use it, and you will work professionally as a data scientist. You may never use a while loop, but the knowledge is still very, very necessary. So dictionary, this is the symbol. Remember I said list. List was the square brackets. This one is this curly braces. So this is what is used to represent dictionary. Dictionaries too are mutable. By mutable, I mean you can reorganize it. It is malleable. You can remove stuff from it. You can add stuff from it. You can change the mode in which they appear. You can do certain operations to them. That's what I mean by immutable. Yeah. So let me give an example. So let's just say that we have the case scenario is um, um, details of a man. So we'll store that in a variable which will be seen as a dictionary. I'll try to okay, so Ayomide's info. Watch. It always has two things. Remember, in list, each of the items are separated with a comma. The same thing is going to happen here. It's just that this one will have, for each individual space, you have something to represent it. Like you have a key and a value. I would explain that here. So you have Okay, so his name is Ayomide. His age is 35. Marital status. Marital status is single. And then occupation, the plumber. The plumber. Okay, let's just do it this way. Let's observe something. You have name as a key. Key here is name. Let me write something here. Okay. Key value. They call it the key value pair. Anytime we talk about dictionary here, a key value pair. So this is a key. You use it to know this is the value that is supposed to be inside this thing. This is the value. It's like the same way we were describing variables in the beginning. Yes, but this time around, let's assume this name variable for Ayomide. You get for Ayomide, the name here is this is what is here. For this Ayomide info again, if it is his age variable is 35, marital status single, occupation plumber. You get it? There can be more things appended. There can be more stuff added to this Ayomide's information. But observe two things here. You make use of the curly braces here rather than the square brackets that we use in lists. And you have a key value pair for each of the represented items that are stored inside a dictionary. You get? So you have each of these things. Let's try and perform. Let me show you something here. You can just use any information that you have to perform this. Let's say I want to extract. I am the info. Sorry. I want to try out something. Key. Excuse me. Sorry. Key. Okay. Okay. Sorry. As we proceed, you understand something about them attributes and method. That was how I was having some of those errors. It's not all the time you use a bracket. Yes. But don't worry, I'm practicing you can get there. So what I just did, remember I said key value pairs. Yes. So I just wanted to get only the keys. The keys are name. This is a key. The value for that name is Ayomide. This is a key. Age. The value is 35. Key. Marital status. Value single. Occupation. Key. Value plumber. You get that? So that's it. That's about that. So let's just assume you want to get some of these methods will be very, very important when you start manipulating data frames. Very, very, very important. Very important. You would see in the necessity of these attributes and methods soon. Okay. So let's assume we want to generate we want to call this Ayomide here. This Ayomide's name. How you call it is Ayomide. You call the name of the dictionary itself. Then you put a square bracket. You get okay. You can even see that all of those stuffs are already stored here. Just choose the one that you want. So anytime you call the variable name for the dictionary, it is already stored up. Since you have clicked enter, it is already stored up there. So you can just choose any of them. Let us assume we want to call. We put in marital status. If I say Ayomide info marital status, let's see what will print out. See, it printed out single. You get that? A printed out single. If I want to do okay, let me just copy this, put it here. Ayomide occupation. The same thing. What are we supposed to have if I click that? What will be my output?
Plumber.
Plumber. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's fine. Now I want to let me act as though this is a pandas data frame, and let's see if this is going to work. We know normally that Ayomide's this thing is plumber here. Let me see. Let me change it to a fisherman. Fisherman. If it doesn't give us an error, okay. So now let us call Ayomide info again. Ayomide info. Observe something. You know, I was telling you that it is mutable. You can amend it. There are some that you cannot amend. If I call Ayomide info, normally when I press, let me do this one. When I do print Ayomide info, look at what I have normally. I have name, this, everything comes out this way. Now let me do that same thing now after this guy that I had edited here. I did equals to fisherman. Let's see what will happen. Okay, let me use the print statement so it doesn't show like the JSON. So print. Watch. What do you observe? Plumber. It's no longer seen as plumber. It is now seen as fisherman. We have changed that already. So we use the key. You just use the key. This will be applied well when we start working with data frames. It's a lot. It is going to be applied a lot. So we have changed his occupation from a plumber to a fisherman just by this thing that we did here. Remember, I said these things here are just like the variables we had initially at the top. This is a variable. This is what is contained inside that variable. So rather than writing name equals to, we just want a station whereby everything about a person is just stored in just one file. You get? So we just have all of them here, rather than having to define name equals to Ayobami, age equals to 35, marital status equals to single. This does not replace the need for the usual variables we have, you get, but there are some situations where this is the best things that you need. This is just the best thing that you need. I think I would need to stop here for now and just ask anyone if you have any question. We have about 5 minutes to the end of this class. So if you have anyone with a question or possibly something I might have not done really well, you may need to address. Yeah, any.
So please, sir.
Okay. Your network is breaking. I can't hear you very well. Sorry.
Can I see the screen where you started with dictionary?
Okay. Here I started with dictionary.
Yes, sir.
Okay, dictionary. I think this was the beginning of my dictionary. This was where I started from. So I just yeah, this is all I've done. I'm still going to continue some more things in dictionary by our next class, but because of the time, I do not want to overstretch. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does any other person have something to
So can I ask
say?
a question? Can I ask a
Yeah,
question?
it's fine.
Yeah,
Please, it's fine.
is it possible for you to share this with us?
Yeah, definitely.
View it. Yeah, exactly. Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Even if you want to edit it, they said it before the chairman now, so you can always make it readily available for you. It's fine.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay then. Is there any other any other thing anybody
Please, I
needs
have a
to get.
question. But I have a question. But that would mean dragging you guys back. When
Well,
we were talking about giving it the command name for that Bumi, before we enter
list.
dictionary. List,
The
yes,
list.
before we enter dictionary. The list,
Yeah.
Okay, please. You guys lost me when we gave it that command name. See, in this place for the loop application.
Okay. For loop application.
Yes.
Okay.
Please, I understood from the down part where when we want to give it the command to maybe for denoting it Bumi with 0, Charles 1, I understood that part down. But I missed what like explain to me how you picked when you wanted to give it for name, how you picked Ninda Youth Drive.
Okay.
Please, thank you.
Okay, it's fine. Okay, I will try to be as fast as possible, but don't worry, I'll still share more these things on it. Okay. This Niger Youth Drive DS students is just a variable that we defined. Nobody gave it to us. It was never in existence. We have defined it at the top already. First of all, see it. I just copied it from here. Look at it. I've created a list before, and I called the name of that list Niger Youth Drive here. So I've already named it somewhere here before. What I just did was, okay, I still came here and showed it. Was what I did, if I got your question well, was we needed to get each of the items in this list. You get, so rather than having to call them 111. So what I did was, using a for loop, you do for item, this item now I used to call it name, for name in this Niger Youth Drive. That is this convention for item in this stuff. Just print each of them. So what a for loop does is it goes to each of them individually, and then just prints them out. That was just what it needed it to do. So that was what it did for us.
You've cleared me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, then it's fine. So this is 12 o'clock already, and then yes, we would have the video. Don't worry, we'll have it. I need to really thank everyone that participated in this class for your coordination and cooperation, including the person that was. So I'm trying to remember that Yoruba thing that was being said before. Very funny on the background, but thank you very much. I enjoyed your presence, and I would share some stuff on the group chat on the WhatsApp platform just so everybody can partake, specifically YouTube videos. You get. Then, like I said, on Fridays, what we will do, majorly questions and answers. You get. So we'll just come around and see how we can just watch our practices over the week, see how we can just do some more advanced stuff then. You get. So thank you once again, and have a wonderful day ahead. Yeah. Bye. I'll be ending the call now then. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.